We're so delighted to have on the show Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers from the great state of Washington. She is the Republican leader on House Energy and Commerce. It's great to have you on, Congresswoman. First, your reaction to Hillary Vaughn's report.
The Democrats are putting their political agenda ahead of what's best for hardworking American families. Gas prices were going up before Russia and Ukraine. It hurts everyone when they go to the pump. I've talked to the truck driver who isn't sure what his future is going to be because of rising gas prices. And what we're seeing is a doubling down on their political agenda instead of what's best for hardworking American families, what's best for our economy, our competitiveness, what's best for our security. National security should be at the forefront of our decision making right now. And energy security is national security. Energy is everything.
And Congresswoman, you bring up Main Street America. Let's listen to these workers in Philip, South Dakota. They're still dealing with the economic loss of the president canceling the Keystone Pipeline. Watch this.
Biden and his administration ran on Build Back Better. And that is, from where I'm standing, that's crap. I think his new slogan should be butchering booming business.
He's been one disaster after another as far as I'm concerned.
Can't stand him.
Whoa, tough words. Your reaction, Congresswoman?
We should be saying yes to American energy. Since day one, President Biden and the Democrats have been shutting down American energy. They shut down the Keystone Pipeline. They've been saying they're going to shut down oil and natural gas, even though it's the cleanest in the world here in the United States of America. We should be saying yes to North American energy. The Keystone Pipeline was thousands of jobs, as well as us being able to import from our friend and ally Canada versus Russia. And what we saw in the last year was under the Biden administration, Russia imports of crude oil had increased nearly 25%. Again, they're putting their political agenda ahead of what's best for America. We need to flip the switch.
Okay.
Energy dominance is so important. It's important to families. It's important to our economy. We cannot be a diplomatic power without being a military power. We cannot be a military power without being an economic power. And energy is foundational to all of that.
And Sarah Bloom Raskin withdrawing her name, that was the president's nominee to the Federal Reserve. She would have violated the Fed's dual mandate of full employment and lower prices because she's anti-fossil fuels. I mean, that just violates the dual mandate there. You know, why was the president nominating that person? Can you talk to us more about this effort by Republicans in the House to find out if Russia is meddling again, funding climate activists here in the U.S. to undercut U.S. energy independence? What evidence is there of that?
Yes, Republicans are leading an investigation as to whether United States environmental groups have been influenced through President Putin's dark money to shut down American energy. When I visited the Ukraine in 2015 with the Energy and Commerce Committee, the Ukrainians as well as NATO warned us that President Putin in Russia was funding the NGOs, the non-government organizations, as well as other environmental groups that were opposed to fracking in Europe. Today, Europe gets 40% of its natural gas from Russia. It is what funds his economy and ultimately his military. And we are asking questions of U.S. environmental groups due to a suspicious foundation in San Francisco and their ties to this foundation as to whether Putin also has been influencing American environmental groups to shut down American energy.
And Congresswoman, so Russia is using reportedly a shell company that's connected to Russian oil interests, donating tens of millions of dollars to the San Francisco group called Sea Change, and then they're giving out the money to U.S.-based environmental organizations at the same time. You know, remember Obama official Fiona Hill? She basically 2 years ago said, fracking hurts Putin. Hill said Putin has repeatedly made clear that fracking is a great threat to Russia. So there's that, too. And environmentalists also stopped fracking, and climate change activists stopped fracking and energy development in Europe. You saw that in Germany, France, and the Netherlands. So climate activists stopped that there. Russia was believed to have been funding those climate activists in Europe as well, no?
Yes, these environmental groups are the ones that are opposed to fracking, opposed to pipelines, they are opposed to American energy, and they're ignoring the fact that it has been American technology that, through fracking, that has unleashed this shale revolution and has provided natural gas not only for America, but for others around the world. And it has been the reason that America has been leading in bringing down carbon emissions. Now, we're doing it the American way with American ingenuity and technology solving problems, but it has meant that we are leading the world. Natural gas prices have come down, and we should be exporting natural gas right now. This administration is shutting down the export permits. They are saying no to us being able to export natural gas into not just Ukraine, but Eastern Europe, so that they wouldn't be dependent upon Putin and continuing to fund his war chest and his war machine.
Stand up to Putin with U.S. energy. That's a message from Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers. It's been a delight to have you on, and it's great to spend time with you. Come back again soon.